Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You may notice I'm standing. And why am I standing? This is because I'm bringing you the one and only and the ultimate tier list for all the androids. And this video is brought to you by the one and only, the last video I made regarding the case for Piccolo, where we analyzed one of the most important and crucial scenes in all of Dragon Ball Z. This is where Piccolo decides to start roasting Goku. From the beginning to the end, we analyzed the whole scene, quote by quote, and we made sure to prove that Piccolo was right. He was proved right in Super, and he was proved right in Z, and his words stayed true for the whole timeline. But now, enough of this. You guys can go watch the video and let me know if you guys think I'm correct, if I'm wrong, if I'm partially wrong, partially correct, if the glass is half full, half empty, it doesn't matter. Go see and let me know, because there's a lot of people who disagreed, a lot of people who agreed. It's a very controversial topic, but in my opinion, if you dig deep into it, it shouldn't be this controversial. All right, so now we're going to be going across all the androids that we know. There's a bunch of androids in this tier list that I do not know about. Who are these androids? All of the ones that I don't know, I've placed them into the category called Who Is You? Who is them? I don't know any of these androids. Who are these people? There's a female Dr. Gero. There's a baby Dr. Gero. There's a creepy ass looking android. Oh, who are these? There's a female cell who's purple. There is another purple female cell, and there's... What is happening? I don't know any of these things. Very weird, actually. So I'm happy to know that I don't know who any of these androids are. There's one who's an Namekian. Is that even an android? Who knows? Maybe you guys will call me that I'm weird. I'm a couch fan, but that's not true. I just don't know any of them. So let's stick to the ones we know. Okay. So first one on the list. The one which started all of the best, the first android who started the most important, the most crucial saga in all of Dragon Ball Z. And this is Cellular Cell. So where does Cellular Cell place? Is it D, C, B, A, or S tier? Honestly, I'll place him into B tier. For an android who has not done anything but just trying to develop itself, was an embryo, he's placed pretty high, and I will tell you why. This is because this is the only android that made Trunks with the sword, before he started training the hyperbolic time chamber, completely snap and go crazy. He blew up the whole bunker just because he saw Cell and the androids. And what's insane about it is that this embryo is a definition of the beginning of the end for the Saiyans, because once Cell was released, it was over. Cell started cooking. So this, just because out of respect, we need to put it into B tier, and because without even existing, this embryo made Trunks snap into one of the most iconic blasts we know in Dragon Ball Z. So B tier for Embryo Cell. Second, Larva Cell. So Larva Cell, we didn't see much of Larva Cell, but it is, when we first see it in the anime and in the manga, it's actually very creepy, because we know Cell as this first, second, or third form who absorbs humans and android, and who's ruthless and roasts people. He has those crazy snappy lines and just destroys the Saiyans. But then we see him as this larva, just walking slowly, and then buries himself into the ground so no one discovers him. He's harmless. And just because of this, you know, he's cute. He's a bit disgusting when you compare it to what he becomes. So, C tier. Because he's just a bit too creepy for me. So I'm going to slap a C tier on this guy. Thirdly, Cell first form. Arguably. And actually, no, I don't even think it's an argument. It's not an argument at all. Cell first form, the creepiest and the most villainous villain in all of Dragon Ball Z. There's nothing creepier than Cell first form. Whether you're a child, whether you're a teenager, you're an adult, it doesn't matter. When you see Cell first form, he's disgusting. When he walks, he makes those weird spongy sounds. And the first thing you see of him is him leaving dead bodies. No, there's not even a body left. It's just empty clothes because he absorbs the life of those humans. There's no chill. And when he powers up to face Piccolo, to face Android 17, twice when he powers up, you see the souls of the people who he absorbed. And every single time he meets someone new, whether it's Piccolo or Android 17, he invites them to be part of something greater. Whether it is their own will or not their own will. I don't know anyone who wanted to be part of Cell. So it was always against their own will. So it's kind of pretty creepy in a sense when you can see someone absorbing you against your own will. That's what made Cell creepy. And what was also amazing about Cell was, of course, the music. The Bruce Faulconer theme for Cell. Just scary and tense. You're like, who is this? And then when he presents himself, he fights Piccolo. He says, my name is Cell. I'm an android. And then everything starts to make sense. He starts to explain how there was a bug who absorbed the cells of the Saiyans. There was a bug who made sure to track what happened to the Saiyans. And all because of this, he explained that he's made of Piccolo. He's made of Vegeta. He's made of Goku. He's made of Frieza. He's an android. He's made of all these cells of the strongest warriors in the world. And he becomes Cell first form. But he explains that he needs to absorb both of the androids to finally become perfect. And it created one of the most intense battles. Him against Piccolo was just crazy. Back and forth. Boom, boom, boom. Piccolo starts piecing Cell up. Then Cell outsmarts him, starts absorbing him. But Piccolo, because of Kami, he knows that he can outsmart Cell, buys time, beats Cell. And now that Cell explained the whole story to Piccolo, Piccolo says, there is no way you can win. I'm not going to let you win. And unfortunately, it becomes one of the biggest crime chase in all of probably history, because every single time they think they're close to catching Cell or beating him, he just runs away. Solar flare and runs away. And he delivers creepy lines. You will be part of me, whether you like it or not. And when he absorbs Android 17 for the first time, he's finally to achieve half of his goal. He comes from behind 17 with this creepy face and takes his tail out and absorbs 17 against his own will. My gosh, does he become creepy. And also, he failed the first time trying to absorb 17. You're like, the whole time, what makes Cell first form one of the best characters in all of the androids, probably the best character of all the androids, is because you just know that it's going to happen. You just know that Cell is going to absorb 17. You just know he's going to absorb 18. It's just a matter of when and how. And that's what made it scarier, man. That he said, enough of these humans. I've absorbed enough humans. I don't need any of these humans anymore. They can all live and be part of me. But I need 17 and 18 to be perfect. And all the Z fighters were scared of him. He was stronger than 17, stronger than 18, even as strong as Piccolo. So just because of this, Cell form S tier, undoubtedly. Next one, Cell second form. So you can see it in this image. Cell second form with the grin finally has acquired a taste of perfection. He is semi-perfect Cell. He has absorbed Android 17 and finally he realizes, I can get used to this. He finally becomes stronger, much stronger. No one is his equal anymore. Piccolo, 18, 16, no one can do anything. And he actually meets Goku for the first time. When Tien tries to stop second form Cell, who comes in? Goku comes in, saves Tien with instant transmission. And he starts eyeing Goku. And Goku starts eyeing Cell and says, this is who you are. And when Goku leaves, he says, so this is you, Goku. Finally. And he starts understanding who Goku is. And it's just something about Cell's second form that probably makes him one of my favorite forms, because he's there, but he's not there yet. So he's a bit underestimated on all of the androids' forms. So Cell's second form gets one of the best beatings delivered in Dragon Ball Z history. Super Vegeta comes, no fear, no chill, with pure destruction on his mind, and comes with along his son. He says, he's just as strong as I am, and both of them can piece up Cell's second form. I mean, even though Cell has a taste of his own power and he becomes cocky, he gets pieced up by Vegeta. But however, there's one piece, it's probably the most important piece of all the saga. It's the fact that even though Cell looks dumb, throws a temper tantrum when he gets beaten by Vegeta, throws a temper tantrum against Trunks, there's one thing that Cell always keeps, is that he kept his intelligence. And he knew that since he had the cells of Vegeta, he said, I'm just gonna trigger the guy. I'm just gonna talk him into letting me absorb 18. This is the fight that he needs. He's the strongest guy in the world. He knows it, but he doesn't know that I will destroy him once I become perfect. So because he has the cells of Vegeta, he completely understands Vegeta and becomes Vegeta inside of him. So he convinces Super Vegeta to finally absorb 18. And then what happens? Trunks panics. He has to fight Vegeta, dispatches of Vegeta, and could have dispatched of Cell. But eventually, Krillin made a mistake, and Super Perfect Cell's second form became Perfect Cell. But I think Cell's second form is vastly underrated. One of my favorite forms in all of Android. And I actually will put it ahead of Cell's first form just because of how underrated he is. So because of this, Cell's second form goes into S tier and is the best rated character in all of the Android saga for now. There comes Perfect Cell. Finally, prophecy complete. Mission accomplished. Perfect Cell is finally perfect. And he has a taste of the power. There is no one as strong as him when he becomes perfect. No one until he meets Gohan, which Gohan Super Saiyan 1 could have dispensed of Perfect Cell. However, the arrival of Perfect Cell against all odds gave us one of the most sick attacks in all of Dragon Ball. And this is Vegeta's final flash, which Cell vastly underestimated. Cell knew that he was much stronger than Super Vegeta. He knew that he was cooking Super Vegeta. He could have killed him at any time. Trunks the same, Krillin the same, all of them plebs. So he underestimated the final flash and he said, bring it on. And the moment the final flash came, in Vegeta's fashion, Cell panics and half of his body gets torn off, giving some respect to Vegeta. Because of this attack, Cell now has to be warrior of Vegeta, and he dispatches of Vegeta and dispatches of Trunks. So when Cell becomes perfect, he gets this arrogance, this intelligence, this newfound power that he has been seeking for so long, and the pleasure that he gets from it is like no other. However, Cell perfect form was stronger than Goku Super Saiyan 1, but it was not as strong as even Gohan Super Saiyan 1, and never mind Gohan Super Saiyan 2. And that's a fact, and we can debate on it, guys. But because of this, yes, he dispatched all of Vegeta and dispatched of Trunks, and yes, he beat up Goku Super Saiyan 1, he spawned the Cell Juniors. He was impressive, but it wasn't as impressive as Cell first form and Cell second form, specifically because Cell perfect form gets all the attention in the media. So because of this, I can't put him on an S tier. I have to put him at A tier. Next, Super Perfect Cell. And I just have one quote to say, guys. You still have a lot to learn, boy. And this is because when Perfect Cell explodes, well, he becomes second form, then explodes, he comes back stronger. He has the Zenkai boost. Super Saiyan 2 alike. I actually think he got a pretty decent power boost. And this is, I might actually do a video about that later. I'm going to argue that he was probably as strong as Gohan Super Saiyan 2 when he was drained, not when he was at full power. And this is because when they were going against their own Kamehameha waves against one against each other, Gohan was losing. Yes, he had one arm, but he was losing. He was losing. He said, I have no more power. Even Goku said, just push. He said, there's nothing else to push. There's no more power. And he only won because Vegeta distracted Cell with a blast. And that was Gohan's opportunity to get a hold of Cell and finally beat him. And it wasn't because he was less strong than him. I would argue that they were equally as strong, Super Perfect Cell and Cell. And Super Perfect Cell came back with a vengeance. Came back not messing around this time. Kills Trunks. Dispatches of Vegeta in one shot and said, enough of this. I'm not going to hand fight you. I'm just going to blow up this earth. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of all these fighting. Cell games, enough. Enough of this. We've done everything we can. So, time to dispatch of all of you. And Super Perfect Cell wanted to destroy the earth. And he gets a pretty impressive boost. And he comes with his own sick lines. So because of this, S tier for Super Perfect Cell. Next, Cell Juniors. What to say about them? It's very hard to know where to place Cell Juniors in terms of their strength. However, I would argue they are as strong as Super Vegeta and Trunks, which is pretty fucking crazy when you think about it. Because Trunks was able to somewhat, not really keep up with Cell. Maybe Cell was at 40%, 30%, but still stronger than Imperfect Cell. So Cell Juniors are in between second form Cell and Perfect Cell, which is crazy. There were so many minions of them. And they didn't say much, but they were a bunch of little savages. They didn't fuck around at all. They just went for blood, special beam cannon, Kamehameha, threatening the lives of Yamcha and Tien, completely beating up Goku, disrespecting the Goku, disrespecting Vegeta. Vegeta was already, whose pride was already hurt, was getting pieced up by Cell Juniors. But there was not much to them. So for their savagery, I'll put them at a pretty high tier. But because they weren't that deep, I'll put them at B tier, Cell Juniors. Next one, Cell Max. Very disappointed in Cell Max. He was incomplete. They didn't finish building him in Super Hero. The evil people there, I forget their name in Super Hero, just said release Cell Max, even though he wasn't there yet. He's cool. He's a giant. He looks like second form Cell, which finally pays respect to the most untalked version of Cell, which is the second form. And, no talking, just debauchery of destruction. Just wanted to destroy and beat and didn't know much. No intelligence, no high IQ plays, no tricking Vegeta, none of this. So it was just a big, giant gorilla who was strong. So because of this, D tier. Very disappointing in Cell Max. Dr. Gero, or some would call him Android 20. And what do we say about Android 20? Android 20 was desperate, was the creator, the starter of everything, starter of the androids. And to be fair, he was strong. He was okay. He was the most intelligent one. He created Cell. However, what is there to say about Dr. Gero? He was able to grasp a big, powerful blast and absorb the energy by tricking all of the Z fighters. He was gonna get pieced up by Vegeta though. After Android 19 got destroyed, there was no way he was gonna beat Super Saiyan Vegeta when he just came back. And during the time that Android 20 and Android 19 was alive, Super Saiyan Vegeta was the strongest warrior in the world. And then Android 17 and 18 came, and that, we know what happened. The rest is history. But Dr. Gero's story is sad. 17 and 18, they're the creations of Dr. Gero. And Dr. Gero is strong for his own sake, but he forgot to see that their data did not calculate until Super Saiyans. So when they became Super Saiyan, they were all confused and they got pieced up. And then eventually the creations destroyed the creator. So because of this, he had some sick lines. He killed Yamcha. And, well, he didn't really kill him. He almost killed Yamcha. And the special move Absorbing Life is pretty creepy, I'll say. I'll give him a C tier. Ahead of Larva Cell. Second, Android 19. I mean, not much as well. Android 19 looks like a clown a bit. Creepy voice. he's able to piece up Goku, but only because he has a virus. Vegeta dispatches him very, very easily. And then, to his own regret, Vegeta gives us a big bang attack that we'll remember for the rest of our lives. And in spite of him being an android, for the first time, we see an android feeling fear. And it gave us the Vegeta line says, let me ask you something. Does a machine like you feel fear or something? Eventually gets destroyed. You see him, no more hands, starts running away. So androids do feel fear, starts running away, thinking he's able to run away from Vegeta. And Vegeta just snipes him and gets his head run off. So we don't see much of 19. But for the sake of it, I'll put him as a low C tier. Android 16, the most human android there is. The one who was the strongest, if we count Cell out as an android, he was the strongest android there is. He was stronger than 17 and he was stronger than 18. His only purpose was to kill Goku. But eventually he has a change of hearts. He sees that he loves Earth, and his coding and his programming as an android is different than one of 17 and 18. He starts feeling love for Earth, for animals. He starts caring about others, and because of this, he starts protecting 17. He starts protecting 18. And what's pretty cool is that he's pretty much as strong as Cell First Form after he's absorbed all of these humans. I would say they're neck and neck, maybe 51-49 for Android 16. And he's probably the only one that gave a good beating to Cell First Form, destroyed his tail, gave us the Hell Zone, Hell Flash attack, something like this, where he pulls up his arms and then boom, blasts the Earth with Cell, buries Cell into the ground. And then, but eventually, because of Android 17 stupidity, he gets absorbed, and then he's no match for Cell anymore. But let's not forget, Android 16 loved life, and then Gohan failed him. And because of this, we got the most famous transformation in all of Dragon Ball Z. Android 16 suffered a very, very sad death, and we hope to see him back alive one day. But sadly, he died. His head was crushed, and Bulma removed the self-destruction mechanism from him, which would have ended the Cell games, but we would have never seen the rising of Gohan. So maybe it was a means to an end. But because of his empathy, because of his love for the world, Android 16 has to go as S tier. Lastly, well, not lastly, there's a couple more androids, but not much to say about them actually. Except for Android 17 Super, because we're gonna count this one as Super and this one as Android 17Z. So Android 17 Super, what is there to say about him? He is a safari guy. He loves animals. He has a family. He didn't make the mistake Android 18 made. He started training. He actually won a tournament of power. He was as strong as Goku Super Saiyan Blue. And for the first time, as a continuation of Android 16, we see another android who becomes heartful. He starts having emotions, cares for others, and it's in a more Vegeta-esque way of feeling emotions. He's more stoic, doesn't want to share emotions with others. But deep down, we know that this android is more human than other androids. Thanks to Android 16, who showed him the path. Android 17 is now more human, but kept up with his training and stayed powerful, stayed strong, pieced up Jiren sometimes, pieced up in the Tournament of Power, was strong as Goku Super Saiyan Blue, sacrificed his life for Frieza, for Vegeta, for Goku, but eventually Goku placed all of his trust into Android 17 and won the Tournament of Power for everyone else. So, because of this, A tier for Android 17 Super. Android 17Z was more of a savage. He was more of a, I'm just here to destroy, I'm the strongest, I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, look at me, I'm gonna piece up everyone. And now he actually got pieced up in every single fight that he went. Android 17, he was getting pieced up. Remember, he fought Piccolo was beating him. He fought Cell First Form was beating him. Android 16 would have destroyed Android 17, Goku would have beat Android 17. He was no match for anyone. He was just as strong as Android 18. And then there was no more satisfying death than Trunks finally coming back into the future and destroying 17 and 18 and saying, this is for Gohan, because that's what he deserved. He's arrogant, not as strong as he thought he is. Because of this, D tier. Super Android 17 from GT. Is it from GT? Actually, I think it's from GT. I don't know, man. He was like a stronger version of Android 17. It was very strong, but he's not really canon, and I don't know too much about him anymore. I'd have to look it up. Because of this, you know, I'm biased. D tier. Screw that guy. Android 18, who took a different path, became a mother because of Krillin. They wished that androids become human, I think, or remove the android part of their being. Android 18 became a mother, became more human, didn't keep up with the training. Still was very useful in the Tournament of Power. Roast Krillin is probably one of the only relationships in Dragon Ball Z where the female is stronger than the man, and the wife is stronger than the husband. And Android 18 is much, much, much stronger than Krillin. I would say that probably her power at this point, if we just go by the standards of the anime, she's probably a Super Saiyan 2 strength, like a low Super Saiyan 2, like Gohan Super Saiyan 2 when he fought Deborah. So that's her strength, which is pretty impressive. And, you know, I find one of the cooler women in the show, her and Bulma. So because of this, B tier. Gamma 2 and Gamma 1. And I'm actually not sure which one of them destroyed, tried to self-destruct himself and can sell Max. But they're pretty cool. They're like they're like the Robins of androids. They're strong, but it's hard to judge their strength. They were getting pieced up by Ultimate Gohan. And I think even Gohan Super Saiyan with training could have beaten them. But they really took their power to the max level. They extracted as much power as they could, and they became cool superheroes. They're like little policemen that are now androids, and they used to be evil, but now they saw that life is worth protecting as well. And they had some nice lines. They were nice people. So, you know, not much to say to them. They sacrificed themselves for the greater good. So, B tier. Both of them. Android 50. I think this is Android 15. And this is from the movie Super Android 13, I think it's called, or Android 13. And, I mean, he is what he is. He's purple. He's tiny. He gave a good fight to Vegeta and Trunks, but then he got completely destroyed. Not much to him, so D tier. This is the guy who, I think he was in Superhero, and he wanted to spawn Cell Max, and he wanted revenge for the Red Ribbon Army, and then he was way too dumb. He was not fast enough, and he was not clever enough. He wanted to release Cell Max before he was ready, and all he had was money, but no brains. D tier. This guy, I think this is Android 15. Same thing as, or 14. Same, yeah, it's Android 14. So same thing as Android 15, D tier. Don't care about them. Android 13, and then Super Android 13, or the fused version of Android 13. Android 13 was more of a hillbilly, a trucker, who his sole purpose was to destroy Goku. That's it. No emotions, nothing. Destruction. And he was like a straight to the point version of Android 17. And I think in the timeline we can place him right after 17 and 18, but before Cell. Or actually after Android 19 and 20 and before the Cell Saga. So it was a bit of a side quest. And he was very strong. I would say probably stronger than 17 and 18. And he was a hillbilly, which was very different from 17 and 18. And he had some pretty nice lines and really pushed Trunks to the edge, pushed Vegeta and Goku to the edge, but eventually he started getting pieced up. So, because of his savagery, because of his placement in the timeline, and because he kind of looks cool, he's buff, he wears a hat, long hair, you know, B tier. And then fused Android 13. At first, it's very hard to believe that this guy is an android, but he is an android, you know, and pretty strong one. He actually disposed of Vegeta, Goku, and Trunks at the same time pretty easily, and Goku had to absorb the Spirit Bomb to finally become strong and destroy him. But you know, the idea of androids fusing was very unique and very clever, actually, where he absorbs the chips of Android 14 and 15 to become much stronger. Is actually an idea they should have utilized more, and I hope they will utilize in other movies, or maybe in the continuation of Dragon Ball Super. But he was a pretty cool android. I mean, his persona changed much, but he was very strong, and it's very hard to place him in terms of strength. My guess would be that he's probably as strong as Cell first form, because I don't think Goku Super Saiyan in that state would have been able to beat Cell first form unless he absorbed the Spirit Bomb, and even then it would have been hard. So my guess is as strong as Cell first form, but we don't get much out of him. But because of the concept, of the fusion concept, he gets a B tier. So this is it, guys. This is the ultimate tier list of all the androids and all of Dragon Ball Z, Super, Daima, Normal, GT, whatever you want. This is the ultimate tier list. You don't need any other tier list. This is pure fact. I don't want you to say this is not of it. All of it is gospel. All of it is truth. All of it is fact. Don't want you to do it. Don't want you to come and say, no, this is actually D tier. Obviously, I'm joking. Let me know which one I was wrong about. Honestly, I think if you're unbiased, this is the only tier list you need. You don't even need to create your own one. Just come to this one, say, oh, what did Bingo Word say? Cell second form most underrated? Facts, no one speaks about it. So let me know in the comments below who is the most underrated android and who is the most overrated. I believe that the most underrated android was Cell second form. Vastly underrated. And the most overrated one probably should have been Android 17 and the Z Saga. So that was it. Done. No, I'm out. Peace.